This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Work management platforms. Ugh. Endless onboarding, IT bottlenecks, admin requests. But what if things were different?
We found love in an open space.
Monday.com is different. No lengthy onboarding. Beautiful reports in minutes. Custom workflows you can build on your own. Easy to use prompt-free AI. Huh. Turns out you can love a work management platform. Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
Yo, UK! At BetMGM, we give our players sports betting entertainment like nobody's business. Football, horse racing, darts, boxing, tennis, golf, NFL, NBA. You name it, we got it. Offers? You know it. Bet 10 pounds and get 40 pounds in free bets. BetMGM, it's showtime.
New customers only. Exclusions apply. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Hi and welcome to another edition of the Away End in association with chief sponsor of Tilton Talk, AMG Logistics. AMG Logistics are also a sponsor of Birmingham City Football Club. I am today joined by Ryan Latham from the Bolton podcast, Trotter Chatter. We did catch up earlier in the season with one of your colleagues, so it'll be interesting to see now just how things have progressed. So thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, it's no problem. Progressed is definitely the right word for it. I think last time we would have spoke, things were quite bleak for us. Obviously on the back of a Wembley defeat and a really, really tough start to the season where a lot of us, including myself, was in a position of we want the manager out. Obviously, new manager now, undefeated in 4 games, and all very exciting. We gave you a lot of respect when we came to your place last year, and I'd like to think that it's going to be a very different setup this time around. But spirits are high. We'll see.
So we come into the game with Birmingham off the back of a 1-0 home win against Wycombe at the weekend. That takes us, and honestly, I didn't think I could say this at this time of the season, but 12 points clear at the top of the table, and still with a game in hand over both Wycombe and Wrexham. So things looking very promising for ourselves. But as you mentioned, Bolton on the up as well. Currently sitting 7th in the league, just 2 points off the playoffs. But looking to continue on what is a decent run of form, as you've mentioned already. You go into the game as well off the back of a 0-0 at the weekend against Wrexham. So I think a hard-fought draw, however, opportunities were there to actually take the 3 points as well. So it's going to be a good game on Tuesday evening. Overall, though, we see between ourselves, basically Birmingham have won since across all of the games, 46 games we've won. We've drawn 34, but we've actually lost 53. So you are just up on us in terms of the overall perspective of games. And in the last 5, even Stephen, we have won 2, lost 2, and drawn 1. So really does make for an interesting game on Tuesday evening. Obviously, Birmingham are looking to continue their unbeaten run, but I know that Bolton also have that opportunity to climb into the playoff spots. So it's going to be tight. Tell us then. You mentioned already that there's been that change in management since the start of the season, but what else has changed? What else can we expect from the Trotters come Tuesday evening? And since we've last spoken, we've had yet another transfer window. So are there players that we should look out for? And who are they? Finally, where's your strengths and weaknesses?
Okay. Well, we'll knock off the transfer window on nice and quickly. We signed 1 player, a loanee from Cardiff. Sorry, 2 players. One was a loanee from Cardiff, Atete, and he's never kicked a ball for us. He got injured after 20 minutes. Oh. And then we also brought in Joe Randall from Peterborough as well, who's not really had a lot of game time. So I don't think the transfer window side of things is going to be a massive change. Very much a similar squad, but the way we set up, the way we play football is completely different to under the Everett regime. There was very possession-based football, 5 at the back, all about sort of wearing down the opposition, trying to find those very precise moments to get a chance at goal, where Schumacher is known a bit more for free playing football, a bit more attacking. We're playing 4 at the back, which I'm absolutely thrilled to see.
I think every fan says the same thing. It's like, when you've got a team that is constantly either 3 at the back or 5 at the back, it's like, what's going on? Just go back to basics, play the 4. And honestly, I'm saying that coming from a team where we do switch. So, but of old, when we've been struggling, it was always just play 4 at the back, play to your strengths.
Well, it's we've not got makeshift fullbacks anymore. So we've either got right backs and left backs playing in the proper position, or wingers not having to defend as much and actually asking questions of the defence. So it's great. We've got John McAtee and Aaron Collins both firing up front as well. Not so much against Wrexham; they very much nullified us on Saturday, but they are both in great goal scoring form. And I just think we're a danger at the minute. And I think a big thing what I'm seeing that's very different from an Everett side is we'll go 1-0 down or 2-0 down, and we've been coming back. We've been coming back like 3-2, and I think that is something that's we didn't think this team had that kind of level of guts. We always thought we had a soft underbelly, easy to frighten, and it just shows a difference in management and sort of what he can get out of the team compared to what Ian Everett did. I know I'm sort of slandering Everett quite a bit, but it did end quite bitter in the end. I just think Schumacher's definitely a better manager. He's willing to change system, players at half time if he thinks things aren't working, rather than sticking to plan A or the highway.
Yeah.
So and he's done that all the games he's been in charge so far, and it's been so effective. So I think we were a lot more unpredictable, and I think still for the fans, we don't quite know what we're going to get yet.
What do you think? If you could put your finger on one major difference since Schumacher's come in, what would it be?
Players have allowed to have a bit more freedom and individuality, where Everett sort of from that sort of trickled down Pep Guardiola style, where it's all about the way the team is structured, and if you don't go out of this system, players sort of a one big unit rather than showing individual flair and taking risks, where I think that the shackles are off a lot more now. Which having shots from outside the box and players, like I said before, wingers taking on the fullback. There just seems a lot more of that, and players aren't being asked to play in a system where like they're being asked to play the position what they're comfortable with, rather than being shoehorned into that system that doesn't change. And I think that's the reason why a lot of signings what we've had haven't worked so far, because like I said, wingers playing wing backs and strikers being up front in that too, where they're used to running behind. So it's shackles off.
Do you think there was an element of stubbornness from the manager of old in regards to, look, this is the way I want to play, and if you don't like it, then you won't play for me? Whereas now your new manager's come in and gone, actually, fresh start, show me what you can do, and then play into the strengths of being put in front. I mean, he's as fans, is that what is that what you wanted? You mentioned already that it was a bit I suppose raucous at the end. The breakdown of the team, by the sounds of it, was there. The fans had, I guess, lost the faith in the previous manager, and new ones come in and really taken things back to basics. Got to steady the ship, has done that, and he's now looking to progress. As fans, is that what you wanted, or do you think there's still something to come?
I think, yes, there's still something to come, because Schumacher's obviously inherited a team with just a day of the transfer window left, so he's had to deal with what he works with. But I think it's asking the players to play a system that they weren't bought into either. I think we've seen it sort of teams knowing the blueprint of how to beat Bolton Wanderers because we don't change. It is stubborn. If you asked any Bolton fan to name ever in 3 words, stubborn would definitely be one of those. And I think like when you saw Oxford at Wembley, they absolutely pulled us apart because they knew how to beat us, and that's what made it so difficult. And I think it's like going to work and being asked to do the same thing every year that doesn't work and isn't successful. It's just exactly the same on the football pitch and expecting them to buy into it. And I think the players lost faith, the fans lost faith, and obviously the results, the poor results were making it even worse. And obviously when you're thinking this is our chance to really bounce back and try and get those auto spots, we're playing very much catch up now into the last 3 months.
And you mentioned there as well, new manager in with just a day of the transfer window. Do you think the owners left it too long to pull the trigger?
So far too long, and it took Everett to leave himself rather than the owners to let him go. And I think that's why it's almost like they didn't want to sack him. They didn't want to spend the money to have to sort of pay out his contract, and it got to the point where things were so bitter. Banners coming out, fans chanting for his head. They left it far too late to a point where they literally had no choice. I think if Schumacher would have came in when Everett wanted to go, because he actually asked to leave in September, I think we would have had a much stronger season.
Do you think so? Decision to let and wait for him to leave rather than sack him, financial, or do you
100%,
owners
100%. She's a very frugal lady, and I think avoiding paying that and hoping that things turn around seemed like a safer bet, considering they had a very strong relationship anyway. And I think she almost didn't want to let a friend go as well, which isn't really the way it should be for a manager, but 100% personal and financial.
So, but decision made in December, new person through the door by the end of January. As you say, now in a position where you're chasing, but where do you think, now being realistic, Bolton will end up? Because I've got to say, from a form perspective, this league, from arguably second down, is still up for grabs. I still think a team going on a run of form can challenge for a second automatic spot. And from what I've seen from now both Wycombe and Wrexham, they have their frailties. They're going through times of change themselves, and Wrexham with the disappointment of going out on penalties in the Virtue Cup, which was just incredible, because you'd have thought after the 20 minutes of that game that it was all going to be Wrexham. That was the way it was going to be. And after they've done that now, do you think you could challenge? Do you think you could get that second spot, or do you think it's too far out of reach?
I mean, we can believe at the moment. You can't rule it out, but it will not be easy. But you look at the form table, and it's only Bolton Wanderers are just below Birmingham.
Yeah, that's right.
That's you can't really complain about that. And it's a big thing about having belief. And the fans are saying like, "Oh, we're getting carried away," but I'm quite happy to get carried away. We've had such a miserable time of it. I'm really up for getting carried away, and I don't see why not. I think that we've got a really testing March. We've had obviously Wrexham, we've got yourselves, we've got to play Stockport, so there's some big games in there, and I think they will really show where we're going to be at by the end of it. And obviously we play Wigan as well, and we don't beat Wigan of recent, but they're managerless, and we've got rid of Everett, so hopefully it's a fresh start with that. But I don't see why not at this stage. It's still there to play for.
So going into Tuesday night then, obviously Birmingham coming in the back of an unbeaten run, confidence is high. However, we are getting a lot of injuries, awful lot of injuries. The weekend's game saw Allsop going off injured. We lost other players just with niggles as well. What can we expect from Bolton on Tuesday night? What will the setup be, and who should we watch out for, especially in your new realm of form?
So I'm hoping that we play with 4 at back again. I hope we don't give you too much respect, because we gave you far too much respect last time we played. Jordi Osei Tutu, who came from Arsenal, he's he's looking really dangerous playing in a position he's comfortable in. He's like a winger,
Mm-hmm.
and he's been having some of these like lower League One fullbacks in his pocket. John McAtee, who looked like the biggest waste of £1 million, is starting to come into form. He's scoring goals, so definitely him. He's one of our strikers alongside Aaron Collins, who easily one of the better forwards. I think if we didn't get Aaron Collins, it would have been Alfie May for best striker in League One. So he's a definite danger. He'll shoot from outside the box. He's unpredictable. But yeah, you would have asked me this 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. I wouldn't have been able to give you a list of players who to watch out for. That's for sure. And Aaron Morley did a great job at Wickham on loan in the first half of the season. Clearly an issue with the manager because he's come back into it and he's firing again. But at the minute, there's still a lot of testing in the team. So I think even as Bolton fans, we don't quite know what we're going to get. The issue we'd have is we're very, very low on strikers. We let Dion Charles go out to Huddersfield in January. I think that was related to the manager as well. And then the manager left 4 days later and we're out a striker. So if we lose one of Collins or McAtee, I think we'll be very, very light up top. And I think that's where that could sort of derail things for us.
Of course, I mean, we go into the game with...
Yo, UK! At BetMGM, we give our players sports betting entertainment like nobody's business. Football, horse racing, darts, boxing, tennis, golf, NFL, NBA. You name it, we got it. Offers? You know it. Bet £10 and get £40 in free bets. BetMGM, it's showtime.
New customers only. Exclusions apply. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
The new Boost Mobile network is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for life.
That sounds like a threat.
Then how do you think we should say it?
Unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for the rest of your life?
I don't know.
Until your ultimate demise.
What if we just say forever?
Okay.
$25 a month, forever.
Get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile forever.
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
A player who represented your good selves, and I think was as much as a staunch player, and I use the word definitely at Birmingham. You know, he's a cult hero at Birmingham in Lucas Jukovic, who's now just turned 350 appearances for Birmingham. It's a phenomenal record, and the guy is still loved, and of course on that day, you know, when he scored against us and nearly relegated us into the league we're in now. You know, he then signed for Birmingham not long afterwards, and has said it was the drive and the passion of both the team and the fans that encouraged him to come. But he will no doubt now have a look in with our injuries and with the way things are. You know, we are hopefully close to seeing Stansfield joining the team again after the injury at Bolton, but Bradford, sorry. But we don't know is the answer. You know, we are, as a club now, very coy in regards to the injury updates that they provide, apart from those that are season ending. So we don't know what strike force for a start off we will see on Tuesday evening. Personally, I think we'll see a little bit of starting with Alfie May. Then, if Stansfield fit, he might be on the bench and fit enough to come off the bench. If not, we're going to be sitting with Jukovic there again, as we did at the weekend. But he makes a nuisance of himself, so it's hard to predict what will happen. What we can say is, I think, steady defence. You know, we're not seeing much change in that area. Clara, for me, is just, he is a beast. As I described him this morning to somebody, he'll just head absolutely anything that's put in front of him, or put up that proverbial brick wall to stop people from getting through. He's playing brilliantly alongside Davies, which, you know, helps when you've got a partnership that you know you can rely on. We could be looking at a change of goalkeeper. So at the weekend we did lose Allsop after quite a horrible landing, really, from just a cross. It's just a horrible landing. So you may see Peacock Farrell starting in goal, but the rest of the team, I think, is pretty static. You know, we started Saturday with the same team that we did the Tuesday night before, and that's where, bar the injuries, we will probably see the same setup as well. It's going to be a good game, as always. A great following again from Birmingham. I think originally it was around 4,500 seats that were given to us by Bolton. Had this have been a Saturday, there's absolutely no hesitation whatsoever that had been sold out. But being midweek makes it a little bit harder, but we're still going to have one hell of a following coming up and making the noise that they normally do. So you've mentioned a couple of key players there of who we should watch out for. You mentioned the strike force. So my new challenge as part of the away end is to look at games between ourselves and to see if you can name the top 5 players that have scored in the fixtures between ourselves. Now, I'm not going to lie, if I was presented with this at this present moment, I would really struggle unless I went and consulted good old Google. Because I've seen that list, and out of all of them, I recognise one name. And that one name is not one from recent. But also what I will say is, in these games, there are high scoring because of the past ones, I've seen like maximum of 3 goals being scored in games between teams when I've done this before. Well, today we can say that the top scorer between ourselves in the fixtures actually scored 9 goals. There was then an 8 goals, drops down to 5. Then we get a 2 on 4. But also of the top 5, 4 of those 5 are from Bolton. So, challenge for you. Can you name any of those top 5? And have a guess at how many goals they scored as well.
Okay. So I'm trying to think of times where there was large clusters of us playing each other. So that was the Championship and a bit in the Premier League, and sort of some of these might end up being a bit before my time.
I would go as far as saying all of them are probably before your time. This is the thing with this. We have had, players that have stood out in those Championship and Premiership days. Totally agree. These ones, though, are definitely earlier. The one for Birmingham, for example, is years back.
Nat Loftus
is one of them. Centre forward. How many goals do you reckon he scored between the two, between the fixtures that we had?
Is he the 9 goals by any chance?
He's not.
Is he not?
No.
A bit less.
It is just a bit less.
8.
He is the 8.
Okay, so we're talking around that era, are we?
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be a difficult one, this one.
It's really, I'm not. This is really tough in comparison to the others that I've done, and it is because of the age of the players. But I think it just shows as well, actually, how tight the games have been when we have played each other over the closer years, shall we say?
Brian Edwards.
So no, Brian Edwards isn't one of those.
Tommy Banks.
Nope. Really challenging you now, then.
Dennis Stevens.
Dennis Stevens is one of those players, yes. Centre forward, obviously playing for Bolton. How many goals do you reckon he scored?
Did he get the 9?
He did get the 9. He did.
Oh.
So you've got number 1, you've got number 2. So I'll tell you that number 3 scored 5 goals and was a left winger. The final player was a striker and scored 4 goals for Bolton. So do you want to have a crack at those 2?
Do we have an era at all?
Not from what I've seen, no. I'm not going to lie. It's one where if I'd been presented with this, I'd have cheated. Google would have been my Bible for this.
Right, we're Googling then. Sorry.
We'll accept the cheating on this occasion.
So the answers are Ray Parrott and Fred Hill are the remaining 2.
They are indeed. Hey,
I don't know.
You got them all. Well done. And well done, Google. From a Birmingham perspective, Ken Leake is the player who listed as a position of second striker, which I have never, ever heard of. So that one makes it interesting. But he scored 4 goals. Fred Hill with 4 and Ray Parry from the left wing with 5 goals. So we really have gone back over the years for those particular players.
We're BetMGM Sports and Casino. We know things aren't always golden. That's why we offer you the tools to keep your place safe. Set timeouts to always ensure you take a break when you feel like you need it. Set reality checks so you know exactly how long you've been playing. And set deposit limits to help control what you spend. Stay golden with BetMGM. Play responsibly.
18 plus.
So Tuesday night, I mean, firstly, I've mentioned already, we're going to have quite a large following coming up from Birmingham, and I'm anticipating a large attendance at the stadium as well from across the 2 areas. So what is your prediction? And what does your head say it will be? And what does your heart say it will be?
Do you know what? Can't go back. I said it was a draw. What I said, I will double check. I've got my prediction here. I want to be balanced. I think I said 0-0. Let's just got my prediction here. Let's be consistent. I said 0-0. A very, very competitive 0-0.
What? So, because I'd have to say, why 0-0? Why don't you fancy yourselves to win it? On your current,
I do, but I can't rule it out. But you're a good side. You're a good side, and we've not been a good side. We've only been a good side for the space of 2 months. So I think I'm being realistic. Where if we get a draw, I'll be happy. A bit like Wrexham, I would have been happy with a draw there. But a win, I'd be ecstatic with, and I think it would really propel us into that question of can we challenge for the top 2 then.
I mean, I'm torn. I really am torn with this particular one, because part of me is saying a 0-0 would be actually a very good result with 2 teams, like you say. I think actually the way it stands now, first and second in the form league.
We are level with
from Wycombe.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So it was tight going into the weekend. We're away from home. We've got that little bit of grace in terms of the league. I think my head actually agrees with yourself on a 0-0. I think it'll be a good game and a good 0-0. My heart, though, I can't help but think we can nick it. And it's just, and it's not going to be a massive goal scoring fest.
I agree.
It's going to be a game where if either team win it, they win it by 1. And, I'll put it out there, if Birmingham are going to win this, they're going to win it 1-0. I don't think we're going to see any more.
I think if either side wins, it's a 1-0. I think there's 1 goal in it.
And I think my other part of my prediction is that goal will come in the second half, because I think what we see is Birmingham continue to go. They're the Duracell ever ready, not ever ready. It's Duracell. God, Duracell rabbit. They continue to go. They continue to fight, and we can make some changes that swap the team about and its structure if things aren't going our way. So I think if there's going to be the goals, they're going to come in the second half, and that's my prediction. So I'm going to go with, my head says 0-0, my heart says 1-0 Birmingham, but it's going to be a great game no matter what, and it can be season defining for both of the clubs. So
2 big fish in a small pond, isn't it? So it should be good.
It is, and do you know what? I really do hope that you guys can snatch a position in that either playoff or go on the run that I think you're capable of to get the second spot. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough, because one thing I did see from Wycombe was down to 10 men, but a never say die attitude. And arguably in the second half of our game, you would never have thought that they were down to 10 men. So They are a very good structured side that can create chances. So they're going to have opportunities as we go through the rest of the season, but there's no reason why you guys can't do it. And as for the playoffs, there's no reason why you can't get in there again. You've done it once. You could do it again.
I don't want to.
I
hate
understand. Nobody wants the disappointment, but you know what? You can learn by that disappointment, and you see it quite a few times when you look at the leagues. The teams that have gone there to a playoff final have lost in the playoff final, have come back, learned by it, and actually then have followed up with a promotion. So there's no reason why you guys can't do it. And again, I really, really want to see us playing each other in the championship, because we are two big clubs that are capable of more. We've both been in that top tier. We haven't just been in there, but we've been successful in that top tier. So there's no reason why we cannot get there again. And you know what? I still never forget the times of seeing showboating from a certain JJ Okocha when Bolton were up in the Premier League. And those things stand out. They show that you were big enough to be there. And under the ownership that you've got and the better ownership of both clubs, I think we have the structure now to take it forward. So, Ryan, thank you very much for joining us to go through the details of the game. Let's hope on the evening the result is fair on both teams. And I'll sign off by saying I really do hope we are playing you again and we get the chance to do this again next season, but this time in the Championship. So thank you very much again. This has been the Away End in association with AMG Logistics, chief sponsor of Tilton Talk. Sign off by saying thanks a lot and keep right on.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
We're BetMGM Sports and Casino. We know things aren't always golden. That's why we offer you the tools to keep your place safe. Set timeouts to always ensure you take a break when you feel like you need it. Set reality checks so you know exactly how long you've been playing. And set deposit limits to help control what you spend. Stay golden with BetMGM. Play responsibly.
18 plus. This episode is sponsored by Boost Mobile.
It's James and Fuhad from Shits and Gigs podcast, and we're here to talk about Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country.
With compelling deals for new lines, Boost Mobile makes it easy to switch today.
Boost Mobile's new network delivers customers the speed and service they'd expect from the big three, plus groundbreaking benefits you'd only get from a true challenger in the industry.
These include letting people try the network risk-free for 30 days and offering a $25 per month unlimited plan that's guaranteed to never go up in price. They have blazing fast 5G and plans for all the latest devices. Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store and find us online at boostmobile.com.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.